Okay, guys, welcome back. We have a great guest today. He is going to tell us what the state of Silicon Valley is in 2026. He's a founder of a company called Memberly. His name is Eric Jones, and we're going to talk all about that. So, Eric, welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you for having me. This is great. It's an honor. I wish I had a view like you, so maybe one day.
Yeah, yeah, you have to come visit. You have
Yeah,
to
I gotta
come
pull
visit.
up.
Yeah, so let's get into it because we know what it used to be like 10 years ago. We had the kind of limitless money, the crazy valuations, the crazy stories of these startups. That was 10 years ago though. What's it like right now? Has any of that dried up or changed?
Yeah, I think based in my opinion, I think optics wise, from the outside looking in, people are saying, "Oh, it's dried up, money isn't being deployed, things of that nature." But when you're here on the ground and then also connected with the right people on LinkedIn, you're seeing, these $5 billion valuations. You're seeing people get like seed investments of 10 million, 5 million, whatever it might be. So I think it's like a cycle. It was the dot-com boom, and I feel like now everybody's talking about AI. So anything that has AI attached to it, investors are like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like let's invest in it." I think it's a different type of boom, but I definitely think, no, I know money's being deployed and people are actively investing, even when with the economy and things of that nature. Like Silicon Valley, it seems like just runs the economy, and at a drop of a dime could shift it in either way. So I think there's a lot of stuff happening behind closed doors in specific rooms that most people aren't in. And it's very interesting to see how people are maneuvering and investing, specifically in AI, just because it says AI. They're attaching it to everything. And so it's like, it's insane.
Yeah. So what are some of the stuff? What are some of the things you're seeing right now with regards to that? Everyone just kind of, oh, I have a new AI startup for this or that. Is that kind of what we're seeing now? Just instead of the tech boom, it's the AI boom. Is it going to be a bubble in a similar way? What do you see happening there?
I mean, bubble. I think everything that goes up must come down, and so I think there will be a settling. Similar to how Google or Microsoft or whatever it might be, or Meta became the top in their specific niche. So I think I foresee a lot of like nuanced tech. I'm calling it nuanced tech. So a lot of people that are going to like these hyper niches and hyper focuses. And so that leads to more industry experts and subject matter experts being valuable in the technical space, where I feel, I'm very passionate about that. And so I foresee there being a lot of businesses being created, and a lot of them. Can I cuss on your platform? I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if I can
good.
cuss on it. A lot of them going to shit because people don't understand how to really build businesses, and don't understand a specific niche or a specific pain point. And so I think the success rate of startups will still be shitty. Like I was talking to somebody today, and she said the success rate is like, or the failure rate is 98% for startups in America. And so I think that won't change, but I think the amount of startups and businesses that are being created, that'll increase, because now we have Replit and Lovable and all these platforms to just create, a web app and then go get investment and test traction or whatever it might be. So I do think there will be, I won't call it a bubble, but I guess there will be like things will subside, and settle into place. And then we'll see who rises to the top. And I think the people that rise to the top will be the industry experts that are solving problems for very niche demographics. And they understand those problems firsthand because they worked in those industries for the past 10, 15 years, whatever it might be. And they understand the problems that need to be solved. So, and I think investors don't understand that maybe. Investors are, jumping on these super insane valuations and these super, MRRs and ARRs. And it's like, it's such a game, bro. Like being in it and just seeing it, it's like the numbers aren't real.
Yeah.
None of it's real. But they're investing off of that. And, went to Stanford, ex-Meta, ex-Google. And so you see a lot of the failure rate will stay the same just because people are investing off of these certain metrics and these certain standards, but aren't really investing off of an industry expert or a subject matter expert. So, yeah, I guess that's a long way around to say a lot of stuff will fail and
Sure.
blow up. So, yeah.
Now, what are some of the differences from the heyday of, I don't know, it was 10 years ago, probably the heyday, 2015, 2014 of Silicon
Well,
Valley? Was it a little before that or?
I mean, people always talk about the dot-com boom. So that was the
Sure.
early 2000s, before the '08 and '09 and stuff, the crash. And I think there was a big spike for just crypto and everything during the pandemic. But yeah, I think people talk about how vibrant San Francisco was pre-pandemic. And it's been since 2020, 2021-ish, whatever it might be. And now there's a resurgence. So I'm not sure exactly what Silicon Valley was like before the pandemic because I wasn't here. I can only imagine, I guess, that it was like, just people walking around, money falling out of their pockets, and you're picking it up, and you're like, hey, this is my seed money. Somebody dropped it down at Rosewood Sandhill. But yeah, no, I think now there's a lot of opportunity. I'm not sure what it was like before, but there's an opportunity from, I'm passionate about human connection. And then even if you think about downtown San Francisco, when COVID hit, there was a lot of businesses downtown is mostly just businesses. So there's not a lot of housing. And so you had a lot of people just leave downtown, and downtown didn't get any love. And so now there's a lot of vacancy, there's a lot of homelessness, there's a lot of like drug use and everything in downtown San Francisco. And so the city's doing a lot to, I guess, prepare it and revitalize it. So I think it's the perfect time for people to move to Silicon Valley. It's coming back for whatever it was, before this. But as I'm seeing it recover now, all I see is a lot of opportunity, man, for people, even like me, that are non-technical founders and someone that never thought they would be in tech, to be able to find my positioning in my space and my unique offering to Silicon Valley. So,
what are some of the things the city's doing right now to clean it up? I know it got a little crazy for a while.
Yeah, they have this thing called Vacant to Vibrant. It's so many, bro. It's so many. Like I couldn't even go down the list or even remember the names of all the like privately funded programs and nonprofit organizations that are set in place. But I've met people like 3 or 4 different people that lead 3 or 4 different organizations that are working on filling storefronts. And then when it pertains to that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing, people filling up the vacant storefronts, and then they're trying to get more people to come back to the office. And then of course there's the hospitality and the nightlife side of things, because if people come back to the office, now you need people to actually activate events, you need more restaurants, you need more coffee shops, more places for people to convene, which we call third spaces. And so you see a lot of work within curating proper third spaces. The new mayor, his family, I think he's from the Levi's family. And then you have, is Empire? Empire is based here. So there's a lot of like music labels doing a lot of dope stuff in San Francisco as well. So there's a lot of collaboration from many different fronts when it pertains to the entertainment, the hospitality. I think there's a disconnect between culture, community, and commerce. And that's an event concept that I'm working on to bring some kind of like some organizational leaders, some political leaders, some cultural, curators in the city to kind of bridge the gap between the people that understand tech and commerce, but then the people that also understand culture and community, and letting them meet and bridge that gap, because there's a big gap between that. And I think Oakland has something that San Francisco doesn't have, and San Francisco has something that Oakland doesn't have. San Francisco has infrastructure, and Oakland has culture, and it's like there has to be a way to merge those so and so they can communicate.
Yeah, and then let's talk about your journey a little bit. Like I said, to start, you're a non-technical founder. How did you even get started on, and tell us a little bit about Memberly as well?
Yeah, so me, I started off in fashion, so completely far away from tech. And then I got into the event space when I moved to LA in 2019, built a community of 50,000 people, and have done 400 plus events. So I became an authority in that space. And I did an event, I think I mentioned to you, I lost $50,000 on that one event. It was a big event, annual event that I do. And in that moment, I realized that there was a problem or a pain point for me, and there might be a problem and pain point for other event producers. For me, that was ticket volatility. I couldn't really predict or project revenue as an event producer. And so I felt like subscription could solve that problem. And so I started to just ask other event producers that I would consult with, like, hey, are you what's your biggest pain point? And most of the time it would be ticket sales. One of my advisors worked at Posh. He did their go-to-market, and he said the same thing. It was ticket sales. All the event producers always say, hey, it's tough for me to sell tickets and just generate the revenue I need to pay for my events and cover my costs. And so I created Memberly because, one, I felt like we needed more industry experts and subject matter experts in the tech space. And I'm the type of person, I always love being an example of somebody that, I'm not just going to tell people to get into a space or do something that I haven't done myself. So I decided to start from scratch. After I did an acquisition, I bought an app in the events management tech space first. And then I decided to pivot and start Memberly from scratch myself to take that Silicon Valley tech startup founder journey. And that's how I got into this space, and that's been a couple of years ago. But yeah, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and I love new, journeys and obstacles and figuring new things out. Forever a student. And so I saw tech as the next pivot for me. And then that's when AI, and vibe coding and things came out as well. And so it gave me the tools that I needed to actually bring what I was thinking about to life versus just having it on a piece of paper in Google Docs or something. And so it seems like just divine alignment and timing with the technology advancement, and then also my realization that the space could use more industry experts and subject matter experts.
Yeah. So you, for your company, you totally vibe coded everything?
Not well. I had a CTO who was more technical than me, so he understood, the GitHubs and the repositories. He understood the tech stacks, and he could talk the whole lingo to whoever we would be working with. And so I vibe coded like the UI and UX of what I wanted the, I guess, just dashboard in the platform to look like. And then he took it, put it in the GitHub, and had a separate branch where he would use Claude Code to prompt it. And then it would just separate it into different features, and then we would build out features that way. And then we got to the point where AWS for Startups invested and gave us funding to actually complete an MVP. And so we did that, and now we're going into a second SOW with them to make it more robust. So we started off vibe coding and then migrated over to AWS, and then with their support, we were able to build out MVP, and now we'll build out more. And then I'll bring on some probably founding engineers to do the rest.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that AWS for Startups? What is that? How did you apply? What is the whole kind of program they have? Is it basically just to get startups early to make sure they are using AWS when they hopefully grow to big companies? Or
Basically, yeah. So AWS, Microsoft, and Google all have startup programs. And one thing I realized, like me being a bootstrap entrepreneur, I don't overlook free resources. I'm the free resource king. I'm gonna find a way to get something for cheaper, for less, or for free, whatever it might be. And so, because I have that background of understanding how to bootstrap and get stuff out the mud, me coming into the tech space, I had an advisor that also supported me and pointed me in the right direction of accelerators and programs that I can sign up for that most people probably would overlook and try to go straight to Y Combinator's or A16Z or Techstars, and then when they get shot down there, they're like, shit, I guess I don't got a good product. But I didn't skip over those like small steps, which then led to the AWS for Startup funding. So, and I think that also came from me just being very persistent and just showing up and saying, hey, what more can I get from this outside of just the credits to go towards the cloud spin that I might do? And so by way of doing that and just digging and digging and digging, then I discovered that, I can get some actual capital that could go directly towards development from this company. And so that's how it worked out. It's super simple. Everybody can go Google AWS for Startups and it'll pop up, and then you can apply, you get the credits, but then you can actually talk to your account manager to say, hey, what more can I get from AWS? Because they need us, essentially. Everybody needs new startups that are growing, and they're investing in us and betting on us to actually meet that quota, that projection that we said that we will spend in the future with that cloud spend. So that's how that came about. So I definitely encourage everybody that's a startup founder, look deep into, early stage accelerators, early stage, programs that are here for us to support us and offer us resources, because there's a lot of free resources that after you raise that $4 million and you hit a certain amount of revenue, you're not getting access to that. So leverage being a startup while you are a startup. Don't try to grow too fast, because when you grow too fast, then you block out a lot of these free resources that you can get access to.
yeah, so how does that process? So they're giving you money, but it's all based on eventually you spending money on AWS cloud down the road.
Yeah, so they don't give the money directly to your account. They have partners, so development partners. So we have, and they allocate you to a specific team that is specialized for example, for us building SaaS products. So we're B2B2C hybrid kind of SaaS model. And so we're working with a team that specializes in building and developing SaaS products. So they have different development teams that are their partners, and then they pass us off to them. And then whatever amount of money that it costs or we're approved for, that goes to them, and towards those development hours that they put in on our product.
Wow,
It's cool. People don't know this.
You have no idea you wouldn't even think that exists. They're going to give you free access to stuff like that. So that's great. But what about funding? What did you do? You have had startups before, just not necessarily in the tech space, you said?
Yeah, so I've had three businesses, and I've been a consultant for a while. So I mean, I can consider that like a business. I am a business, myself. So yeah. Okay,
so you had access to the money people already, and then you were able to pitch them the people you already knew, or was this new people?
No, I've never I don't come from money. And I'm not fortunate enough to have the friend group of. I have some friends that have money, but I don't have the type that some people are privileged to have. So I can't just go out and do like a $500,000 friends and family round. Like I'm just like, whoa, is like I wouldn't get shit. And so everything from when I say bootstrap, it's really seeing a problem or an opportunity, creating that product, and then just going to market based on what I think is the best solution. And so for me, I've never been in a situation where I knew what needed to be developed and built and launched to solve a problem and couldn't build it. Me coming into tech, this is the first time in my life as an entrepreneur that I've been forced to have to delegate at that level. Where it's like I have the idea, I know the problem, I know the industry, but I can't build the thing that I want to push out to the industry. And so that one thing that I'm grateful that it did for me, it really taught me how to be a true CEO. Because to be a true CEO, you're not developing, you're not doing HR, you're not doing the comms and this and that. So for me, it helped me, it uncovered what I would do best in the tech field, and it helped me understand what I do best as an entrepreneur and as a CEO. And I'm grateful for that experience because I don't know if I would have had that experience if I had never jumped into tech and actually gotten into a space where I can't produce the actual product or service that I want to offer myself. But yeah, no, everything, all my previous businesses, I've just went straight to market with something. And like my events company, that was just slowly building up to where I could profit a little bit from selling tickets, and then to the point where I was doing $20,000-$30,000 in one night, by 2 times a month, So that was just the compound effect. Have you ever read the book, The Compound Effect?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. So that was just the compound effect of just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again until I refined it enough to where it was generating enough revenue. And then I filed bankruptcy before I got into tech too. So I didn't have my own excess of capital from the business that I had built that was doing a decent amount of revenue. So I had made a few mistakes, learned a lot of lessons, but I always say you hit a new low because you hit a new high. Your previous ceiling is now your new floor. And so, the lessons that I learned and the valuable things from those experiences, they're intangible. And I think a lot of people are held back in business because they don't have the tangible resources they feel like they need to see in order to pursue whatever that thing is or that concept that vision they've been given. And I don't operate like that. If I have $1 million idea, I don't need to see $1 million in my bank account to go pursue that vision. And so that's something that has always been with me since from the jump.
About exactly how Memberly works. You mentioned you realize the pain points, the event organizers. You say now it's a subscription, but how does it work? Who's subscribing? Like, what are the ins and outs of your company?
Yeah, so for me, I'm betting on the future of live events being more community driven and less transactional. So not necessarily saying, hey, fuck tickets completely, never buy tickets again. But for Memberly, the model is B2B2C. So direct B2B, we're going after event producers, culture curators, community builders that build these businesses around live events. So if you do 3 or 4 events a month, you're a great ICP for us. And so the way it works is 0 to 50 members is free. So there's a freemium model. And then after that, we got 3 tiers after that. And then the event producer starts to pay us a flat rate. And then we take a rev share of their subscription revenue that they get from their event attendees. Event producers pay us to use the platform. They create their community. Then they sell subscriptions to their event attendees, which is their end user, to let them come to all their events every month for that one subscription price. And so that's how it works for the B2B2C model that we have.
What type of events are these typically so far?
So we haven't launched publicly, but we have a go-to-market list of like 1,000 event producers, and most of those are just nightlife creators. And I've gathered a list of people here in Silicon Valley too, because I see there's a lot of opportunity for tech communities. Because right now, a lot of tech events are usually free, and they're trying to figure out how to monetize those communities and monetize those events. Most people rely on sponsors, but when you don't have a sponsor, you're losing money. And so, therefore, subscription is kind of like, hey, plug in the subscription. If you're doing 3, 4, 5 events a month, let them pay that subscription, and then maybe do some private member-only events, etc. But yeah, that's we're going after nightlife first because that's what I know, and that's where my connections and networks, lives. But there's opportunity for the tech community and ecosystem to actually leverage this as well. There's opportunity for venues to leverage this, so they're like a membership club without being an actual membership club. And there's opportunity for companies like TEDx or Startup Grind to leverage it as well, because they have national chapters, and all those chapters do events. And they're probably selling tickets or doing RSVPs for those events. If they just shift that to subscription, now you have recurring revenue. You can offer them perks, and you're taking more of that community-driven approach based on what they're building. They built it around community in general. So, yeah.
And so they're just locking in that guaranteed revenue, which is just like so vital for them at probably a lot of those stages for those events companies, right?
Yeah, it's super vital, man, because we start from zero every time right now. If you wanted to go do an event, 3 events next month, you got to start from zero every event. There's not a bottom, or like, hey, I know I'm starting with 4K, 5K every month. And then so you experience a lot of marketing burnout. With that as well, you have to continue to market via email, via SMS, via social media, and you're just hoping that people buy tickets. But that event's going to cost the same thing every time. But you can't guarantee to say, hey, I'm going to make the same amount of money every time I do this event. And so, yeah, it gives them that nestle of cash. It gives them that guarantee. It gives them that safety. It gives them that just comfort to know, okay, I know that I'm making 4K next month before I even get into selling tickets for this event. So anything else on top of that, cherry on top, or there's less stress, whatever it might be. So, giving them peace of mind and making their job easier. Nobody in the industry has made it easier for event producers to do what they do best and what they love to do, which is just produce events and nurture communities.
Yeah. So you're assuming this was part of your thinking. Do you see what a lot of people are predicting, that IRL boom, AI, more AI content, more AI, more Zoom meetings, and then they're just like the hunger for the IRL events is going to just kind of really skyrocket in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I foresee it being a what's the word I want to use? What's the word that I want to use? A premium thing. Like, people are going to they're going to really desire to connect with people, hug people, touch people, see people. Because, yeah, there's a lot of AI everywhere. Everything is just, people are going to want the real. And, I think the next generation, they're drinking less. They're changing their habits. So there's always like a history repeats itself, fashion repeats itself. There's a cycle of life. And I think we're going to go into a space where people realize and start talking about the human connection crisis and how detrimental it is to our mental health and us as human beings. And we're going to start to look for these third spaces that are between work and home and Zoom meetings and scrolling on social media. We're going to want to put the phone down. Like back in the day, there used to be a day of play and all the TVs just off. So I feel like we'll get back to that, because the next generation of, adults, they're looking for unique experiences. They're looking to get for these activities. They're looking to get out. And then the types of events that are being created are changing. I had the head of product management at Eventbrite on my panel yesterday at our event with Silicon Valley Bank. And she was talking about, I asked her about the trends. And I know live podcast events are a big thing right now that's getting people out of the house. And she said a lot of like events that are pairing unique things like run and coffee or wine and, or sip and paint, whatever it might be. Those different unique pairings of completely separate things are starting to get people out and get them active. So I think the future of live events is very exciting. And people are also starting to see how much community drives just business profit and revenue. It's like, if you don't have community behind your product and your business, what the hell are you doing? In today's times, I think it's gonna bleed off into every part of society. And whoever is at the forefront of the innovation of what that future of live events looks like, I think there's a big upside for any company that's, one, leveraging community and focusing on community and shifting from whatever they're focusing on now to more community driven. And then also the people that are building the foundational technology for these evolutionary ways that we'll be producing these events and experiencing IRL stuff over the next 5 years for sure.
Yeah, I think you're majorly ahead of the curve, and especially because a lot of these people will want to start these type of events and communities. You just have it's basically like just a in a box service for these guys, right? Just to get going.
Yeah, I want your thoughts on this too. The best time to introduce a new model or a new way of doing something or operating is in the midst of chaos. And what's your opinion? What's your opinion on that? Like, because everything right now is like there's a shedding of the old way of doing things, and now there's a force feeding society of this new way and unlearning everything that we've already known for the past 10, 20 years. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you used to go to an office and then, You sit in front of a cubicle, then you go to happy hour, and now you're sitting at home. You don't really need to, and people are not drinking as much too. So where's the release going to be? And people are just going to go nuts. And it is going to be those events. Yeah, and you know, if you want to call that chaos, obviously, in some ways, it might be less chaos because they're drinking less. But
Yeah.
in that kind of upheaval, then yes, I think you're spot on with that because people are just going to want to get out.
Yeah. And when you're drinking less, you're more present, you're more conscious, and now you're escaping life less. And so now you're starting to realize, oh, I really want to feel, I want to connect with people. I want to understand why I feel this way. I have to really face my problems head on. And so people are going to realize how important their community is. When I hit my last low, I realized I was on my best friend's couch at the lowest that I had been in a while, and I was able to wake up and just still laugh. And I was like, there's two things I'm learning here. Like, one, I see how people slip into being homeless because I'm literally waking up almost with nothing. I'm laughing, having a good time, and I don't got to pay rent. But on the flip side, it showed me what truly matters in life. And it wasn't the things that I was able to acquire, the businesses I was able to build, the money I was able to make. It was more so the people I was able to experience this life with. And so that goes directly to community. And I had lost my grandma, my dad, and my mom before graduating college. So I feel like me being redirected to community after the long run of going through fashion and hospitality is where I built a strong community, and as well. I injected myself into all my businesses. And so naturally, me losing my immediate family led to me curating these communities and these environments where I could hug people, I could connect with people, I could understand people, and I could pour myself into a space. And so yeah, I think without drinking and without all these extra layers of things, we get stripped down and we realize how important community and connection is. And of course that leads to, I want to see my friends in person. Where are we going? So whoever's facilitating experience discovery, whoever's facilitating removing the friction of getting out, whoever's building that, yeah, tremendous upside for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, the way things are currently kind of set up, it's like if you're not going out to eat or drink booze, then there's not that many meeting places, right? Like, where are you going to meet with 20 people? But something like this, yeah, you pay a membership fee to do a weekly or monthly meeting. I mean, that the function of happy hour wasn't just to necessarily drink. I mean, obviously, we know all the potential downsides of that, but it was the connection, blowing off steam, kind of stress release, maybe talking some shit with your coworkers. That, I mean, it was all part of that now that's going away. So I think you're definitely onto something. But I mean, so you guys have not launched yet, you're saying?
No, not launched yet. We're going to do a closed beta in like a month to like a curated list of 40 event producers. And then after that, we'll launch to the public. But there's a wait list we have on our website with memberly.com. So anybody that's a event producer, culture curator, DJ, just community builders in general that build communities around live events, they can join that wait list. Yeah.
Okay, so we will definitely have that link in the show notes. Eric, anything else you want to say about Silicon Valley, being a non-technical founder, or Memberly? Let's hear it before we go.
I mean, I feel like Silicon Valley, if you're in tech, thinking about getting into tech, or just curious about it, take a trip. I visited 5 times last year before I broke my lease and moved. And I would just encourage everybody to bet on yourself. If you have a vision, the vision was given to you for a reason. And I think people will look around and say, oh, I had that idea. And I don't think ideas and visions, necessarily have emotions or homes. They just try to find someone that's going to execute that. And so I would say, hey, if you got the vision, if you tapped in with yourself, follow your soul purpose, follow your internal GPS, because you don't want to be a walking zombie. And I feel like people are walking zombies when they're not walking in their soul purpose. I feel like their soul departs the vessel and seeks someone else that's going to actually see that vision through. So take the leap, bet on yourself, and remember your current situation isn't your final destination.
Well said. Where's the best place people can find you?
Everywhere, the Dr. Dapper. So TheDoctorDapper. My government name, Eric Jones. More people have been calling me that since I'm in tech now. But yeah, I'm Dr. Dapper on Instagram. You can even type in Dr. Dapper on LinkedIn with Eric Jones. You'll find me. And Memberly is not too far away from me if you find me. So it's all easy to find.
Nice. Well, Eric, thanks so much for coming on and kind of shedding some light on what it's like out there right now compared to in the past. And yeah, we'll have links for Memberly of all of Eric's links, Instagram and LinkedIn. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.
Appreciate you, brother.
See ya.